This is the Entry Grade Rx-93 Nu Gundam, a mobile suit from the Gundam movie Char's Counterattack, and I'm reviewing this figure like 10 months after it came out after I made some really bad financial decisions. Twice. I really gotta get myself together, especially with its upload schedule. This figure is from Bandai's new Entry Grade line of model kits, which are essentially cheap beginner gateway Gunpla that don't require any experience building model kits, and you don't even need any tools. You can pull the parts off the runner by hand, it's that simple. Perfect for those who want to try out Gunpla for the first time. I was a little surprised this is what the next entry grade figure was. I mean, an entry grade Zaku would have been really cool and I'm sure it would just fly off shelves, but after thinking about it, I kinda see why. The Nu Gundam is quite popular and well loved, especially in Japan, that there's even a life-size statue of a Nu Gundam variant made in Fukuoka. And that life-size variant does have an entry grade figure of its own that I wanted to review, but you know how them exclusives be. Anyways, if you're interested, I did build this on stream on this channel and it got cut into 2 pieces because of my awful Wi-Fi. So with this costing me around $13 with shipping, this was definitely more high grade to me than it was entry grade. I mean, the box is more high grade size and we do have a high grade amount of runners, but in my honest opinion, this far surpasses high grade, and it's safe to say that this is definitely one of the best Nu Gundams that you'll ever spend your money on. So here's the Entry Grade Nu Gundam snap built out of the box with minimal panel lining. Bandai did a really good job modernizing this design into a simpler, more streamlined look, but still keeping that really nice 80s Nu Gundam feel. This design deviates from the original Rx-93, but it definitely feels like an evolution of that old mobile suit. With the design being more asymmetrical and the colors now being white and a dark saturated blue, this definitely looks like a more advanced and more experienced mobile suit for more experienced Amuro. Scarred Amuro? I don't know, how do you describe CCA Amuro? It's got that old school Gundam mold to it, but the more angular and top heavy design of the Nu Gundam makes this look a lot more dynamic, even though it didn't really do that much in the movie. Be honest, it wasn't that impressive seeing it move. That monolithic presence the Nu Gundam has really carries over to this figure. It's quite impressive. It's a borderline spitting image of the Nu Gundam from the 80s, but more modernized. Not to the extent of the real grade, but more in line with the Vert Ka, especially that head. Just like the Vert Ka, this head is quite accurate to the film, but has definitely taken some creative liberties to make it look a lot more meaner and threatening. But to make it look a lot more threatening, I do recommend cutting off the Stafy nubs. Also, while we're on the head, I feel like I should mention that most of the head is actually one entire piece on the runner, which means that there's no sort of seam lines whatsoever, but there is a mold line. 0 out of 10, worst figure I have in my collection. Actually, the parts on this model kit is really good when it comes to the separation, because none of this is painted or have been cemented together, which means all of this, even the tiny bits of red and yellow, the chevron on the crotch, and even the eyes, which has its own runner, it's all color separation. And just like other entry grades, the eyes don't have a black part around them, it's all shadow. And the parts themselves look really good. Some of these parts have amazing attention to detail for the price, but that's mostly in the frame. The main armor of the actual mobile suit does lack panel lines. To be fair, it's accurate to the movie, which I do appreciate, but I know some Gunpla builders don't really like the lack of panel lining, which is why they describe their cheap beginner level Gunpla. I don't get it either. But it's not all color accurate. We do have missing colors on the shoulder sensor, which I have no idea how they weren't able to separate. I mean, we already have a green runner for the eyes. And also the kit does come with sticker style decals for the Amuro insignia on the shoulder. And it looks quite nice for a sticker style decal, it doesn't look bad at all. Which is what I can say about the looks for this kit. It doesn't look bad at all, especially for the price. For 13 bucks, this is one hell of a mobile suit. Yes, this is all it comes with. The standard for the entry grades, the shooty and the blocky. And also technically the beam saber, but we'll get to that later. The beam rifle looks absolutely amazing. Very sci-fi, heavy, and militaristic. I really like how this beam rifle looks compared to the rest of the beam rifles out there, and the panel lining surface area is actually quite nice compared to the actual figure. It just simply plugs into the hand, and that looks great on the Nu Gundam. And then a shield. There's not really much to mention besides the fact that it looks cool. It's literally made of 3 pieces, which is why the missiles aren't red. And there's another Amuro sticker emblem to put on the shield. And to attach it, you just come to the back and plug it into the part with the spare beam saber. And no, you can't deploy the spare beam saber, it's molded to the arm. But you can deploy the custom beam saber from the back. Flip out the handle card, put it in the hands, and... oh wait, this doesn't come with any beams for the beam saber, it's literally just the handle. And you can't even use your own spare beam sabers, it won't fit. I mean, I'm not gonna knock the kit for this. For the price, we should have expected this. But what I am pissed off about is Bandai's probably never gonna release a version of this kit with the extra weapons like the Rx-72 entry grade. because they made the fin funnels and the beams of the beam saber specifically compatible with the HGUC Nu Gundam. God damn!
Yes, I just ruined a perfectly good Gundam manual just for a joke.
I really don't see Bandai ever releasing a set with all the extra weapons and the fin funnels, because cost-wise that would just make this a high grade but with lesser steps. I'm not saying I don't want it, but I'm saying it's unlikely. Articulation-wise, I am a bit disappointed. For such a dynamic looking mobile suit, the articulation is not that impressive, especially concerning the shoulders. They could have been a lot better, which is such a damn shame. It has so much more potential in posing. Luckily, the abdomen is a lot more posable, and it actually does look pretty cool. And also, being fair, again, this is a cheap kit and the Nu Gundam wasn't moving around like crazy in the film, so I guess the presence of this kit is already enough. And at least the joints are nice and tight and the figure is solid. But that's because I made it solid. During the building stream, it was actually kind of loose. Because it's all a plastic build, it does have a tendency to loosen up, especially with this figure's brittle plastic. So just be wary of this. Nu Gundam's still pretty stable as of now, but only time will tell. Entry grades are 1/144 scale, so the same size as high grades and real grades. This is actually quite big, but that's due to the fact that the Nu Gundam's a pretty big mobile suit. This size is pretty good and does help the figure stand out. I don't own the entry grade Rx-93, but I know Rafael, TVXD, who I do write for, does own one. So here's an image he sent me. What the hell is this image? This is overall a really good kit. Definitely worth every penny spent on it, and I'd recommend this to anybody who wants a Nu Gundam if they don't mind the lack of fin funnels. It looks cool, is pretty okay to play around with, and is also quite eye-catching on the shelf. But I do find that personally for me, it's not really up to my highest standards. It's good, don't get me wrong, and I still do think this is amazing, but it's not really spectacular, especially when it comes to the articulation. I do get my money's worth for $13, but it didn't really blow me away. I'm blaming Mecha Gaikotsu's thumbnail image. Entry grade is showing a lot of promise as a new contender to be the best 144 scale line, but I do kind of wish that we're not only getting entry grade Gundams, because an entry grade Sazabi and an entry grade Sharazaku would just look so cool, but I don't really think that's gonna happen anytime soon, considering that entry grade Strike's already gotten its 8th version already. Not even gonna try counting how many entry grade Granddaddy Gundams got. Luckily, Bandai isn't the only company who makes model kits, so now you choose. What model kit should I review next? Knowing what my most popular video is, I'm guessing you want me to take a look at Spider Mommy or even Shiny Robot Mommy. Or maybe you want some statues for a change. We can take a look at my Twitter shenanigans or the figure I was supposed to review 5 months ago. I legit have no idea. Next video is not even a review, it's just me beating a thing to death.